of the 1987 regular season at Detroit hurled a beauty, but his heart was broken by Frank Tanana and the Tigers. He gave up a Larry Herndon homer and lost the game and the division on the final day, 1-0. Frank Robinson sends Bradley, Jefferson, Ripken, Milligan. Worthington in the fifth spot, Tettleton the switch hitting catcher, Devereaux in center, Melvin to catch, and Tim Hewlett, late season pickup out of the White Sox organization, at second. Keys pitched to Bradley. At least he did better than Todd Stottlemyre did with his first offering last night. Bradley turned on young Stottlemyre's first pitch and drove it into the seats and left for what turned out to be the Orioles' only run. This one is skied to right center. Mosby with Junior Felix, and it's the rookie.
The Sky Dome is open, as it is this afternoon. The wind currents swirl. In batting practice, the hitter said the ball was carrying out to right field. Jimmy Key's best outing of the year may have been his last outing. 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, no walks. That was against the Tigers.
And it was on Monday, so he's pitching on 4 days rest against emergency starter Dave Johnson. Stan Jefferson takes a ball. The plate umpire is John Shulock. Jim Evans at first. Rich Garcia at second. Al Clark at third. The switch hitter grounds it foul. 1-1.
Bob, before last night's game, there was absolutely no pressure, apparent pressure, on any of the Orioles, nor their manager Frank Robinson. They realized they were not supposed to be able to start with. You go to the clubhouse today, even with the shocking news of Harnish going down. Still, a lot of smiling, a lot of joking. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I asked Robinson if he had a meeting of any kind, either after the game or before. He said, no, I've had only 2 meetings all year, none in the second half. It would just give them something more to think about. I want them loose. Fastball misses, 3-1.
Jimmy Key, after a good April and May, he had a big inning build-up in May. Struggled through 10 starts, went on the DAL with a tired arm, strained rotator cuff. He's come back strong though.
Line drive, if it's fair, it's trouble. It's an extra base hit for the speedy Jefferson. Into the corner, chased down by Mookie Wilson, and a 1-out double.
Collectively, the Orioles team hasn't been in a hitting slump, especially the man stepping in right now, Cal Ripken.
Ripken is just 9 for his last 60. He has only 4 RBIs in September. He has hit 3 home runs in the month to bring his season's total to 21. And
the controversy whether Cal should or should not play every game. And he's got a streak just under 8 years of continuous starting of games, but he says, and everybody agrees, if you look at Jefferson, he's had his best defensive year ever. And he says the double play is important and the defense is the hitting.
Key's 0-1 pitch. He wheels and looks Jefferson back. To be exact, this is consecutive game number 1,249 for Cal Ripken. He's 881 behind Gehrig. In theory, he could pass him in June of 1995. A drive to left, but foul.
And those have been all starts with very few innings missed along that streak. Like it was his father, Cal Sr., when he managed against the Toronto Blue Jays. Sat him down late one game to break the consecutive inning streak.
Key ahead on the count, 0-2. One of the game's great control artists. He's walked only 27 in 212 innings while striking out 112.
Walked only 2 all of September.
And he steps off. The plate ump, John Shulock, is a key for Jimmy Key, no pun intended. If he'll give him the pitch on the outside edge, Key'll test it, try to pick up an inch or two, move it further outside with a breaking ball as long as he can get away with it. There goes Jefferson for third, and the ball skips away from Ernie Witt. It'll be scored as a stolen base. And now Jefferson is at third with 1 out.
Frank Robinson, knowing his offense has been somewhat stagnant, ran on unusual counts last night. He gets a breaking ball, Witt smothers it, can't find it, Jimmy Key helps him. He had it stolen anyway with the location of that pitch, even if Ernie Witt does scoop it out. Now they come in defensively at the corners and stay routine depth, middle of the niner.
Milligan is on deck, and here's the 1-2 pitch from the full windup. Misses outside. Ripken, a model of consistency. Every year in his 7 previous big league seasons before this one, he hit between 23 and 28 home runs. He's got 21 right now in a last month slump that might cost him the MVP award. Full count.
When Cal Ripken has been in the slump, and his personal hitting instructor is his father, senior Tommy McCraw, has very little input. But Tommy, as an aside, says the deeper his slump has gotten, the more he has closed his stance and the more vulnerable he's become inside. Look at how closed he is.
The payoff is popped up. Witt off with the mask in front of the plate. Ripken can't get the man home from third. Now there are 2 down.
I'll show you the futility. A ground ball up the middle, a base hit, a fly ball deep enough, and Cal in the throes of the slump, who's really still been the backbone all around for this Orioles team, can't get any of those.
Last night, when Stottlemyre was rocked for a first pitch home run, you kept waiting for him to buckle. Big pennant race game, a jolt like that on his first pitch, and although he was in and out of trouble for the next 4 innings, he walked the tightrope and escaped until he could give the ball to Jim Acker, who did a great job in middle relief. Milligan takes a ball.
And then came Henke, who's been all but awesome since the middle of May.
Milligan at 269, occasional power, a dozen homers.
Very disciplined hitter. He will make you throw a strike in the area he is looking. Excellent power to right center field. You want to get him, they would like to get the fastball in on his fists.
Key from the stretch. Fastball is high, 3-0 with Worthington, a good 2-out RBI man on deck.
Jimmy Key and Ernie Witt, combining in your picture now, know who's had the hot bat, and that's been Milligan. But 2 bases to play with.
Swings at the 3-0 and fouls it back to the screen.
Three and 0, the ball out over the plate, but with a little something on it. We'll show you the location from the overhead camera. An area that he likes, and Jimmy Key had that little bit extra to get a little bit by him.
Called strike 2.
Bobby, the last outing against the Tigers, Jimmy Key had a great curveball to throw it in any count, even 3-2, and he just froze some of the right-handed hitters for the Tigers.
The 3-2 pitch. Struck him out. And he had some hop on that one. The best fastball he threw in the inning. Man at third, 1 out. Orioles come up empty.
Watch out, boys. Boom, boom, ba-boom.
High heels have always driven men crazy. Now that there's Dr. Scholl's for Her insoles with massaging gel, they don't have to drive women crazy. Dr. Scholl's for Her.
Baby, you have room.
I changed my oil. Why worry about engine sludge?
You can't see sludge coming, but it can rob gas mileage and hold your car back.
Yeah, right.
Castrol GTX has an improved formula to stop sludge in its tracks.
Give me a burger, fries.
GTX's new dispersants neutralize sludge for superior protection among leading 5W and 10W30s.
And some extra napkins.
Castrol GTX. It's more than just oil. It's liquid engineering.
Esquire is proud to be the official watch of Toronto FC. Hit tsn.ca/contest for your chance to win an Esquire Rally Chronograph watch and a VIP trip to see Toronto FC take on LA Galaxy. Esquire watches, built for the competitor in you.
What's so funny?
These all-brand bars taste really good.
All-brand bars taste great. Really? Make 5 your friend with Kellogg's all-brand cereal bars. And now, introducing new all-brand snack bites in cinnamon brown sugar flavor and strawberry.
Harvey's introduces the Spicy Jack Burger. It starts with Canada's best-tasting burger, with melted jalapeno jack cheese topped with bacon and smothered in sauteed onions and spicy chipotle sauce. But unlike other so-called hot burgers, you decide the heat. Add a shot of hot sauce. Heck, have 2. Have more. Now that's a burger for someone who knows heat. At Harvey's, there's a burger with your name on it.
Harvey's makes your hamburger a beautiful thing.
Making a Caesar?
You want one?
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, you gotta drink that here.
There's just something about the savory taste of a Mott's Clamato Caesar. When you see one, you want one.
This is Scott. He can't stop pinching himself. Why? Because he just won access to tournaments with over $100 million in prize money. Now it's your turn to live the dream. Go to AbsolutePoker.net right now and enter a free qualifier for the Absolute Dream Package. You could be the next winner in this unbelievable poker prize package. You can stop pinching yourself now. The Absolute Dream... Ow! The Absolute Dream Package. Pinch yourself. This is for real.
Watch out, boys. Boom, boom, ba-boom.
High heels have always driven men crazy. Now that there's Dr. Scholl's for her insoles with massaging gel, they don't have to drive women crazy. Dr. Scholl's for her.
Baby, you have room.
The Toronto Blue Jays are 76-48 under Cito Gaston. Here's Gaston's lineup. Mosby, Wilson, McGriff. Bell, the DH, coming on strong and projecting himself as an MVP candidate as McGriff and Ripken have faded. Fernandez hitting 5th out of the shortstop spot. Witt will catch. Kelly Gruber, who made the All-Star team, at 3rd. Nelson Liriano at 2nd. And the rookie Junior Felix hitting 9th in right field. Dave Johnson, at age 29, came out of the minors. Career minor leaguer since 1982. And pitched some outstanding games in August. He's a Baltimore native. After his first home field victory, he wept unashamedly in the clubhouse afterwards. He had 125 members of his family and friends in the ballpark that night. He became a local hero, but in truth, Tony, of late, he hasn't pitched all that well.
He's lost 5 of his last 7 decisions. The defense has been the strength of the Orioles the entire season. They will probably end up the season less than 90 errors, and the backbone of the defense is right in the center of the diamond. He's Cal Ripken.
The Jays have already broken the American League attendance record set only last year by Minnesota. They'll draw well over 3 million, and in the Sky Dome from day 1 next year, they think they can threaten the Dodgers' overall Major League record of 3.6. Mosby steps in, and Johnson's pitch dips inside and low.
And Bob, the Blue Jays woke up this morning expecting to see a power pitcher with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball and a great slider in Harnish, who came off a good start. What they see is a man who changes speeds, throws slow curves, and a sinker ball. Doesn't throw very hard.
This is the 67th start this year by an Orioles rookie, easily the most in the majors, and the 113th start out of 161 games by a pitcher who began the year with less than 2 years' experience. Somehow, Frank Robinson has ridden this horse to the next to last day of the season. Johnson falls behind his first hitter, 3-0. And gets it in there.
Jimmy Williams, who was fired, and Cito Gaston, who's had a brilliant year since he took over, have been looking for a leadoff hitter all year long. They thought Mookie's going to be it. He wasn't. Not Fernandez. Mosby's Bennett. He only gets on base 30% of the time. Not ideal. That's quite a story right there. He was an all-star center fielder for the San Diego Padres one year. It's a good home run year, an RBI year. Sinker ball. Right at the knees. And you may have been right earlier. I saw Shulak's last game behind the plate. He does tend to favor the pitchers, but he's very consistent.
Here it is on 3-2, and he walked it. Mosby has stolen 24. He's been caught 7 times. And you fans in the New York area are hearing a familiar sound they caught on right away here in Toronto. The chant of Mookie. Johnson started 1 game against the Blue Jays in August in Baltimore. Wilson had a homer off him. In fact, he yielded 3. Mazzilli hit 1, and so did George Bell. It was one of his worst outings of the year. A ball down low.
And the addition of Mookie Wilson by Pat Gillick, the GM, gave this Blue Jays franchise a shot of positivism. They were very negative, looking for bad things to happen. They had the underachiever label hung on them, and even some said they choked. When Mookie came, the clubhouse changed.
Modest lead for Mosby. Sliced foul. The Mookster is hitting .299 for the Blue Jays. A couple of homers. 16 RBIs. In just his 2nd game with Toronto, here against Kansas City, on a very shallow fly ball to left, he challenged Pat Tabler. Tabler's throw was true, but Mookie barely beat the tag by Bob Boone, and the place erupted. That was the way he served notice about the kind of impact he'd have. He said afterward, even had I been thrown out, it was the move to make. I wanted to inject some life into the situation.
Just another bit of speed on a team that has a lot of speed but has never used it well until they've watched Mookie. And that threat to run, 6 guys can steal in this Toronto Blue Jays lineup.
Mosby barely gets back. Johnson used to have a lot of difficulty holding base runners in the minors. Then Dick Bosman, the pitching coach at Rochester, worked with him and changed his positioning out of the set so that now he sets up in the fashion of Bob Forsch or Rick Russell.
And that back leg broken. It's a key for some base stealers. Watch the crack in the knee. When they crack it, the back knee, they're going home to push off. Theory being it takes that 1 step, maybe more, if it's only a half a step away from the potential base stealer.
Mosby at first with nobody out, no score, bottom of the 1st, and the 1-1 pitch. The Blue Jays have a record of 33-20 at the Sky Dome. They moved in here June 5th. With the roof closed, they're 10-0. The roof was closed last night.
And when it starts open as it is and closes in progress, they've got another 2 wins and no losses. They had an awful start in the Sky Dome, so even that impressive record you just noted is even more impressive, because they've been all but unbeatable here since the first 10 games.
The last time the Orioles visited, over the 4th of July, they took 2 out of 3, which was their mission when they got here yesterday. That would force a 1-game playoff Monday in Baltimore. What Frank Robinson would do for pitching then is anybody's guess.
Frank knows the 2-2 pitch is a good running pitch. With the control problem Johnson's had, he doesn't want to pitch out, go 3-2.
Tomorrow, if it matters, Malaki against Steve. If the Blue Jays clinch today, they hold Steve back, pitch him game 1 of the playoffs Tuesday in Oakland.
And Steve is not a certainty. It'll depend how he feels. He'll be pitching on 3 days rest. Then it could be Cerruti and maybe even Flanagan.
If we play Monday in Baltimore, Harnish might pitch if his foot has improved enough. If not, it could be Ballard, who pitched last night on 2 days rest, but he threw a lot of pitchers. Or Robinson might go with a bullpen committee situation, which he did earlier this year in Detroit, where he had Holton start the game and pitch 3 innings. Then he brought Schmidt in, and Williamson pitched 3. And they won the game against Jack Morris 4-1.
Mosby in a conference down in the first base coaching box with Mike Squires to see, yeah, do I have the sign straight? Did he take the steal sign off? Is it still on?
Jackson the ball. That's his pitching coach, the old Met and Cardinal left-hander. You might be looking at the manager of the year. He's going on 2-2, and Wilson slaps it to short. They'll stay out of the double play. Mookie's gone at first.
And you just saw the risk of starting a runner 2-2. Mookie, not a disciplined hitter. He doesn't walk a lot, but if he is holding on 2-2, Mookie may take the pitch, goes 3-2, then you've really got the defense in somewhat more of a quandary. But he swings to the pitch out of the strike zone just in case. So in this situation, you're giving an out. And the middle infielders, Cal, signal to the right side. He had his brother, he had the second baseman Hewlett covering.
McGriff leading the league in homers, but without one since September 4th. He takes a ball.
But he has taken about 40 bases on balls in the last 40 games. A long time hitting fourth. He was getting no protection in the fifth spot. The last 2 games, he's hit third, and Bell has hit fourth. It's the third consecutive game where they reversed the lineup.
Johnson falls behind him 2-0.
Many people feel what Freddie McGriff had been doing during this slump, not many home runs, extra base hits, was taking too many pitches, and he became a base on balls hitter. So if you want to walk me, I'll do it. And he was taking too many fastballs early in the count. Not the last 2 games.
I wouldn't look for the fastball from Johnson here, even behind on the count 2-0. McGriff's too good a fastball hitter, and Johnson isn't overpowering with it. He hits this one to second. Hewlett blocks it with his chest and is able to recover and throw him out. He did throw something hard, but he kept it away so that McGriff couldn't extend far enough to snap it and pull it.
It's a sinker ball. Tim Hewlett, who's had the hot bat. Another Roland Heeman, the general manager of the Orioles, fired. Roland Heeman remembered Hewlett from his days with the White Sox. And he said, I know a solid citizen. I know a guy who works hard. He's a positive influence in the clubhouse. Just another piece of the puzzle. In fact, 7 of the 9 in the Orioles starting lineup today are from outside the organization.
George Bell is hitting .524 against Oriole pitching this year, with a couple of homers, one of them off this pitcher, Dave Johnson. A called strike. With McGriff and Ripken slumping, the MVP balloting could come down to this man and Robin Yount, who's had a great all-round season for Milwaukee. There isn't any one outstanding candidate for Oakland. Canseco missing half the year. McGuire's batting average down low despite the homers.
Well, you look at Puckett and Joe Carter and Sierra and some pitchers.
0-2. Of course, those teams, those players perform for teams that weren't in the race, and that's always a factor. Carney Lansford might get some votes.
How about Ricky Henderson? What he has done since he went over to the Oakland A's. Over 40 stolen bases, high on base percentage. It's going to be tough. My vote goes to Robin Yount. He never makes a mistake. And he's had a big year offensively also.
Bell, of course, did win it in 1987. Besting Alan Trammell, had a wonderful year for the Tigers. This will be an 0-2 pitch from the full windup with 2 out. Hit toward the hole, right side and through. The Blue Jays have the lead on Bell's RBI. His 103rd of the year.
Opposing scouts make a big mistake with George Bell. They know you do not have to throw him strikes. What they forget to mention is that he will hit pitches a foot outside the strike zone for base hits. And there was no balls, 2 strikes. And over the last 2.5 months, driving in big runs with 2 outs and 2 strikes. He did it yesterday, Mosby, a couple of outs and 2 outs, but Bell's done it more over the last 2.5 months than anybody, maybe in this league.
A ball to Fernandez.
You know, I always think it's interesting because Mookie's so positive, meant so much. Cito's such an even-keel guy. George Bell's so volatile, so he does not get a whole lot of credit. When you talk to the media at times, well, for a month and a half, he pretty much carried this offense on his shoulders.
Worthington creeping in close at third. 2-0 to Fernandez. You'll recall that on the final weekend in '87 at Detroit, Bell with Fernandez and Witt both missing from the lineup, so no protection around him, did not come through, and that's haunted him. He got the MVP in spite of that, but he wasn't able to deliver for his team as they lost their last 7 in a row and blew the division in the process.
Both Tom Trevelyan and Sparky Anderson knew, don't come near the strike zone to Bell.
Left field, Bradley has it lined up and tucks it away. The leadoff walk to Mosby proved costly. Bell got him home, 1-0 after 1.
Watch out, boys. Boom, boom, ba-boom.
High heels have always driven men crazy. Now that there's Dr. Scholl's for Her insoles with massaging gel, they don't have to drive women crazy. Dr. Scholl's for Her.
Baby, you have room.
Harvey's introduces the spicy Jack Burger. It starts with Canada's best-tasting burger, with melted jalapeno jack cheese topped with bacon and smothered in sauteed onions and spicy chipotle sauce. But unlike other so-called hot burgers, you decide the heat. Add a shot of hot sauce. Heck, have 2. Have more. Now that's a burger for someone who knows heat. At Harvey's, there's a burger with your name on it.
Harvey's makes your hamburger a beautiful thing.
What if the Escape had a 6th sense? A sense that adapts to any road condition automatically. A sense that detects low tire pressure before you do. One that senses exactly when you need stability and delivers it. What if you had a 6th sense? More Escape, more surprises at Ford.ca/escape.
The Budweiser NASCAR VIP Weekend. Pit stop at Eastside Mario's Race Zones for a chance to win. Visit Budweiser.ca for a complete list of participating Eastside Mario's and other locations. The winner will receive one of 2 VIP trips to the NASCAR Busch Series race in Montreal. Or you could also win authentic Budweiser NASCAR licensed prizes. Budweiser, official sponsor of NASCAR in Canada. Must be legal drinking age. No purchase necessary.
Is your dandruff turning people off? Garnier Fructis Anti-Dandruff Shampoo helps kiss those flakes goodbye and smells amazing. It's proven. From the first wash, no visible flakes. Satisfaction guaranteed. Garnier Fructis Anti-Dandruff Shampoo. Garnier.
Keep your hair safe with Garnier Fructis. Hit tsn.ca/Fructis to enter the Garnier Fructis Ultimate Sports Fan Contest. You could go behind the scenes with Rod Black at a pro baseball game. Garnier Fructis, essential hair equipment.
Don't know jack about your credit? Stop clowning around. Log on to transunion.ca and get your credit report and credit score. TransUnion. Manage your credit, manage your life.
Watch out, boys. Boom, boom, ba-boom.
High heels have always driven men crazy. Now that there's Dr. Scholl's for Her insoles with massaging gel, they don't have to drive women crazy. Dr. Scholl's for Her.
Baby, you have room.
ESPN Classic, where the legends come to play.
We're ready. Hewlett takes a strike from Jimmy Key.
Look at the shadows on home plate. Have the lights diminished the intensity of those shadows at all? It was a letter of the rule, but a little bit petty, I think. Jimmy Key might be even madder. He doesn't say much. He's got like an angelic, very youthful face, but of all the pitchers, he may have more killer instinct than any of them.
He's got the face of a choir boy, but the temperament of a pit bull, especially in a game like this. Hewlett has occasional power, hit 17 one year for the White Sox, grounds this one sharply to Gruber.
And there you can see, although Devereaux got the double down the line with 2 outs in the second, why they want the third baseman off the line. The sinker ball away, the fastball away, backdoor breaking ball to the right-hander. They want Kelly to give the line. It is Tony Fernandez's responsibility, the shortstop, to see the signs the third baseman can to relay changeup to the third baseman so he can adjust.
Gruber can turn in the sensational play, but he's also made 22 errors this year. As a team, Toronto has booted 126. Bradley to the plate and taking a strike. In contrast, Baltimore has made a major league low 86 errors.
This is not an easy team to pitch for the Blue Jays. They can be brilliant through their speed and their gloves, but they can get a pitcher in a lot of trouble.
Chopper over Key. Bradley runs well. Fernandez flip on the run. Safe. McGriff throwing it around the infield, thinking that he had the out. But Jim Evans said no, he beat it.
With the naked eye, it looked like Tony Fernandez had him. Went to the first base side of second. McGriff stretched for it. Bradley, playing through a lot of injuries off and on this year, takes it right from Liriano. The flip throw. I'll tell you, that's one of those where the umpire calls by sound. It had to be Tony's play. I think he's out.
He is out.
By about a foot, 8 inches, he was out. Evans, who made that call, he did not call interference on Lusader, gave them an extra out. The 9th inning in Detroit a few days ago. He's under a lot of pressure in front of the hometown fans here.
Jefferson had a double his first time. The Orioles have a hit in every inning. They trail 1-0 as they bat here in the top half of the third. Bradley has stolen 20, been caught 5 times. Chased back by Key, who has one of the best and most deceptive pickoff moves in the American League. That was just a calling card, not his best move at all. What he does, and Tony, you can probably explain it better than I can, but he has a way of crossing that front leg, the right knee, back over the rubber leg, the left. The knee will cross over, but the foot won't.
Right.
If the foot crosses, then you can't throw to first. It creates the illusion of a crossover, and sometimes the runner is fooled.
And when Jimmy Key developed that move, there were some umpires calling a balk until Al Widmar said, okay, let's get the supervisors together, clarify, what is it, the knee or the foot? And they said it's got to be the foot, cross the back plane of the rubber to center field.
A ball and 2 strikes to Jefferson.
In fact, it's so good, they videotape this move and they send it around to all the left-handed pitchers in the Toronto organization.
If your foot crosses, you have to come to the plate. You can't go to first. But with the knee and with that illusion, Key can go either way, and the runners are often fooled.
He also
a weak swing, and he's got it.
He also does the other thing you just saw. Now, Bradley's been getting a good lead, but going back toward first base to decoy Jimmy. Jimmy can almost pause at the top of his delivery and freeze the runner and then go home.
So here's Ripken.
That's the important thing, though. Even with threat of stealing, Jimmy Key is so smart, he did not have his attention diverted to the base runner. Maybe one pitch there we ran it wide, but he still stuck with the hitter.
Popped out to the catcher with a man at third and only 1 out in the first inning. That was the Orioles' best chance to this point.
Looking down at Johnny Oates, the first base coach, many times he takes the stopwatch right into the coach's box. I don't know if he has. He's got the protective shin guard now from Bradley, but yeah, he's got the stopwatch. You just looked at it. The time, the delivery, the release time. Oh, a little tricky one. A Dave Righetti move. Step off the rubber. But what Oates is doing is, with the stopwatch, from the first move, he times first move to when it hits the catcher's glove, and then he'll take when it hits the catcher's glove to throw how long it takes down to second base. And if you know with a great base stealer there, you get a combination of those two things in a little over 3 seconds. The great base stealer can still make it.
Bradley, a good base stealer, not a great one. Very tough, aggressive runner. He'll flatten you on the takeout slide at second base.
It's football training from Missouri.
All Big 8 quarterback, 3 years in a row, still holds the conference total yardage record a decade after he stopped playing at Missouri. He still hasn't worked to Ripken.
See, in this situation, if Ripken were swinging the bat well, you wouldn't even think of Bradley stealing. I mean, he would be planted there and let Rip take all his good cuts. But with him struggling, Frank may feel if he can start a base runner, get a long base hit, he might score.
Ball one.
Bradley's been doing a lot of decline down there to put the thought of a possible steal in Ernie Witt's mind.
Ripken has a .281 career average against Jimmy Key, and he's homered once against him. Ripken has made only 8 errors all year at shortstop in the course of playing every game. His opposite number today, Tony Fernandez, has taken the Gold Glove 3 straight years, but Ripken might reclaim it.
Well, Tony is going for a major league record, though. He's got 6 errors. The record is 7 by Eddie Brinkman, and Tony qualifies. You've got to play 2/3 of your games, except for a catcher, of course. So today and tomorrow, and I guess that would count in the regular season if there is a 1-game playoff, Fernandez is going to have the record. Just 6. 14 errors combined for shortstop. That's incredible. Both cover a lot of ground. Terrifically different styles.
2-1 pitch. Fouled off, and he had Bradley lurching back toward first base with that paralyzing motion of his.
And you can see a fastball, a little something on it, all but down the middle, and the left shoulder flies for Cal Ripken. A little bit tired, perhaps. The bat drags, and he can't get at the pitch. Go, Jimmy! It's not the same look every time, Bob. We can see it from up here, and I think the viewers can too. I mean, there's always a little something different in Jimmy Key's head motion, his leg action.
We mentioned that Ripken has a chance to pass Gehrig if somehow he can keep the string going to mid-95. For the record, just as Sadaharu Oh wound up hitting more homers in Japan than Hank Aaron, a Japanese player named Sachio Kinugasa, also a first baseman, played in 2,131 consecutive games in the Japanese League, 1 more than the Iron Horse. Played through a broken collarbone near the end to do it.
I think along the way, he played with a broken his foot too, a broken leg for a while. Now Ernie Witt's going to signal 2 outs, 3 and 2 as we look at Cal Ripken Sr. Ernie says, hey, look, the runner's going to be going. And in this situation, Freddie McGriff will not play behind the runner because he's got speed. You'll hold him a little bit closer, even 3 and 2, 2 outs, so he can't get the big jump and score a long single.
3-2 pitch lined over Kluber's head. Fair ball down the line. Now let's see if Bradley can score.
There it is.
The ball was touched by a fan.
You send him back.
And had it stayed in play, no doubt Bradley would have scored, or at least he would have tried it, and Wilson doesn't have the strongest arm in the world.
Frank Robinson's going to come out and argue, but the rule is the rule.
We'll wait for the replay. If it bounced in, then it's definite. But if the fan reached out, then it's a judgment call by the umpire, and he could award 3 bases.
All right. It is. It's in play. It is not the ground rule double, as it is said. They are going to score the runner, I believe, and Cito's going to come out. Ernie's going to argue, but he's saying, wait a second. Ball did not bounce in where he's held. It is your judgment, and I believe it is the judgment of, if not the third base umpire, Clark, if Shulak saw it better, because Shulak really could see the position of the runners. Al Clark's going down the line. He's watching the ball for bouncing in or fan interference. It was fan interference. Usually the home plate umpire sees the ball touch, sees the position of the runners on the bases, then they place them. They place them according to their judgment where they thought they would have come. And the judgment of the umpire, I think Shulak says he would have scored, and he would have. He would have. It's a good call.
The argument by Robinson proves fruitful, and this is a call, Tony, you and I have talked about it for years, that the umpires are usually reluctant to make.
Oh, yeah.
It was a gutty call against the home team. Because it was fan interference, you saw the 2 people reaching out. That leaves it up to the umpire's discretion. If he thinks that Bradley would have scored from first, he can send him home. 2 out. Bradley is very fast. 3-2. He's running with the pitch. No telling where the carom would have gone. Wilson doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. Bradley was almost to third base when the fan reached out. Had it bounced cleanly into the stands, then it's a no-brainer. Then it's simply second and third.
Well, you know, along with what we just showed you a while ago, and this was not deep in the corners where they've talked about plexiglass. Now, Al Clark just called one thing, whether it's bouncing in or fan interference. He makes the fan interference sign. Now you position the runners. It is John Shulak, with a runner going 3-2, 2 outs, who is looking down from his home plate angle, who sees not only when the ball was touched, where the runner was. And now Shulak is pointing in, saying to the runner at second, you get second. But after they had the conference, he said he would have scored. It is a gutsy call, and the proper one, I believe. But again, that low railing that they're worried about around here, along with the corners, is coming to play in this game.
Ripken, meanwhile, gets only his 5th RBI of the month, but a big one. The game tied, and Milligan steps in, takes a strike. He struck out his first time. An infield hit by Bradley. And a 2-out double by Ripken.
Incidentally, that infield hit didn't appear to be a hit on a replay either. But that's another story, I guess, but it contributes to a run.
So Cito Gaston has a double gripe with the umps.
You know, it's one of those deals where it looked like the third out was made. With a strikeout, Bradley would have been the second out, or should have been.
Key ahead of Milligan, 0-2. Speaking of the umpires, Dave Phillips, one of the best in the American League, and he'll be working the playoffs this year, starting Tuesday in Oakland. Phillips was scheduled to work this big series this weekend, then had a problem at home when his 9-year-old son Randy was involved in a household accident. Thankfully, he's going to be okay, and we send Randy and Dave and Sharon our best as they watch the game at home in St. Louis. Dave called the league office, told him his son was in the hospital. They said, you take the weekend off, tend to first things first. This will be a 1-2 pitch. He waits on it and lines it into left for a hit. Ripken coming home. Wilson charging and unloading. Cal is in there. The throw comes through, so Milligan moves to second, and the Orioles have the lead.
Well, these are the kinds of things that hurt the pitching staff from the Blue Jays. You overthrow the cutoff man, the runner keeps on going. He is now in scoring position. They were not going to get the man at home, not with Mookie's arm playing as deeply as he was. With 2 outs, Ripken gets a big jump. As soon as the bat swung, ball hits the bat, he doesn't have to wait to make sure of anything. He goes. But they overthrow the cutoff man again, and they just give so many more outs than this team has to. And Mookie comes with the National League style of play. He doesn't usually do this. You can see there's absolutely no play, but missing the cutoff man over his head. Another man in scoring position.
Worthington flied to left his only time. He was a key batter last night as he takes a ball up with the bases loaded and 1 out, and the Orioles leading 1-0 in the top of the 8th, and Worthington's been very effective in that kind of spot all year. Jim Acker got him to bounce one toward the hole with the infield playing halfway, and Fernandez made a terrific play on the run, flipped to the plate. Pat Borders, the catcher, even though it would have been a force play, was alert enough to come out and meet the throw up the line and then slap the tag on Steve Finley. Then they got the next guy, got out of the inning, tied it on Greg Olson's wild pitch in the bottom half, and eventually won it on Mosby's hit in the 11th. Here it is on 1-1. Pitch, off-speed delivery, foul to the seats.
The breaking ball that stayed upstairs, and Frank Wills begins to throw. That's Johnny Sullivan, the bullpen coach, behind him. The bullpens are obscured here. In fact, they were going to put some plexiglass so the bullpen could see through it. What they did was they've got bleachers set up left and right center field so that the members of the bullpen course can see the ball game over the top. They just haven't gotten that part done yet. That's how they view the game.
The 2-2 pitch. Threw it by him for his 4th strikeout, his 2nd of the inning. But Cal Ripken has an RBI and a run scored, and the Orioles jump in front.
The 2007 Mazda 5. With full flat cargo capability and seating for 6, you'll never skip a beat. Mazda 5. It all comes back to...
Making a Caesar?
You want one?
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, you gotta drink that here.
There's just something about the savory taste of a Mott's Clamato Caesar. When you see one, you want one.
I think we should promote the new cold certified cans. When the beer reaches the perfect cold temperature, the mountain changes color. I think we should talk about the summer cooler ideas.
Just thinking out loud here, but what if you two wrestled over it?
We have a winner. When the cold certified can changes color, your beer is certified cold. Go to CoorsLight.ca if you'd like to see how this got decided.
I'm Joanne Roberts, and I'm a piano teacher. A rock had chipped my windshield, and it had spread right across the driver's side.
Did you know you had a crack in your windshield?
Oh. Apple Auto Glass took care of everything. They certainly know what they're doing.
Canada's local auto glass experts.
Welcome back inside the Sky Dome. Dave Johnson, emergency starter. He found out when he arrived in the clubhouse around 11:30 this morning that Pete Harnish, the rookie right-hander from Long Island, had elected not to take the team bus back from the Sky Dome to the hotel after the game. Nothing wrong with that. His sister and brother-in-law were in town. The hotel is close by. They were strolling along. And what are the odds of this? But Harnish stepped on a nail. Junior Felix swings at the first pitch here and lost an easy fly to Bradley in left for the first out. Harnish showed me his right loafer in the clubhouse before the game, literally covered in blood left over from last night. It was bleeding profusely. They closed the puncture wound. He called the trainer as soon as he got back to the hotel. But then the swelling began, and it was just too painful because it's the push-off foot, the right foot. He was unable to go, and Johnson got the word when he arrived at the clubhouse. I asked him if he planned to call his mom and dad in Baltimore, who have followed his career so closely. He said, no, let him turn on the game and be surprised.
You know, he found out the traditional way. I happened to be in the clubhouse talking to Elrod Hendricks, the bullpen coach, and Frank didn't tell him. He found 2 baseballs in his street shoes, brand new ones, the warm-up balls. And he smiled, and I would imagine the first thing he thought, was this a joke or what? And then, through more smiles, the guy was very happy to be here at 29. Said, hey, I am the starting pitcher.
He's had to develop a thick skin. He doesn't have overpowering stuff. He's faced rejection throughout his career. In fact, after one of his early victories against Minnesota, Randy Bush of the Twins said, this guy's awful. I'm sure we'll never see him again. I'll never have to bat against him again. He'll never stay in the major leagues. Here he is in a pennant race. Mosby skies one to center. Devereaux goes back. It's really carrying on him to the track. He's got it against the padding.
You got a chance to see right there how forgiving this park is. He got a sinker ball up out over the plate. Mosby hit it very high. like it was going to be in the seats, and it got to center field and died. You just cannot predict with the varying wind currents at different times of the year, and they haven't played under all conditions yet. They didn't play in the spring of the year.
Devereaux plays a very shallow center field. He's a tremendous athlete, and he goes back on the ball in the fashion of a former Orioles center fielder who played shallow, Paul Blair.
Well, he's a world-class athlete. High jump, what, 6'11" in high school out west. World-class sprinter's speed in high school. And he's really playing. He's slumping with the bat, although he's got a hit today, but he's playing because of his spacious ballpark, and it is so big, and the amount of ground that he covers.
Pitch to Mookie. Lines it hard to right. But there's the catch by Stan Jefferson to close the inning out. After yielding a run in the first, Johnson has worked perfect innings back-to-back.
Yeah, she's something. How much? $5 million. But does it come in blue? No. How about that one? Yeah. Yeah.
There's 50 years of racing innovation under the hood of every Honda. Right now, get financing for 1.9% on a Honda Civic. So get to the Honda Checkered Flag event fast.
Where's the keys?
State your case, young man.
I'm having a poker night, and I'd like to serve some keys.
My finest ale would be perfect. Want to see my poker face?
Sure.
Ha-ha! To you, sir, the pride of Nova Scotia. Wilson? Ha! Never blinked once.
Introducing the Briggs & Stratton Elite Gas Pressure Washer. Its Project Pro nozzle system removes the guesswork, so you can easily clean all types of surfaces with the right pressure. Outdoor cleaning starts at Canadian Tire.
I had no idea that was an insult in Swahili. Clarissa.
Can you tell me what's going on here?
Just some friends who've come over for a quick game of poker.
There's a better way to bring the world together for a little poker. Learn for free at the world's largest poker school, partypoker.net. Everyone's playing.
That scoreboard you're looking at in dead center field is the world's largest, 35 feet tall, 115 feet wide. In addition, as we told you, they've got a movie theater in here, a luxury hotel soon to be completed, the Hard Rock Cafe, a miniature golf course in a ballpark. I guess if you hit it in the clown's nose on the last hole, they have to play a doubleheader.
You know, when they opened in May and played the Milwaukee Brewers, there were 45 representatives came over from Japan. And I think there were some architects there. They have some dome stadiums there in Tokyo, like Minnesota. But you can almost bet this was ticketed about $500 million Canadian. I think it's $500 million or more by now and not finished completely in U.S. dollars.
Tettleton struck out his first time. 1-1 the count to him. At the knees and on the inside corner. Tettleton, as you see, right down on the end of the bat.
Better left-handed hitter than right-handed hitter.
Did hit one out right-handed Wednesday in Milwaukee off Jerry Royce. Went down and got an off-speed breaking ball on the outside edge and jerked it over the fence and left. That helped Bob Malachy to a 4-0 win and kept the Orioles a game back. Full count.
You can see the negative shaking of the head by Key, that his control is gone, because there wasn't the third.
He went around and he's got him for his 5th strikeout.
Although, as we mentioned, Jimmy Key had the 9 strikeouts in 7 innings the last time out. He's the kind of guy you don't want to want to have a lot of strikeouts. In this big ballpark, he would just as soon to save pitches, and this is a bad pitch as you see from up top, both down and inside, a little cut fastball or slider. But he would probably prefer having them hit the ball and put it in play. Save some pitches.
Devereaux had a double his first time. Hard line drive in there, base hit.
Jimmy Key gets behind again, 1 ball, no strikes, and said, here's a fastball, hit it, and it's up again.
The Orioles have 5 hits now off Key. The Blue Jays have only George Bell's 2-out RBI single to the opposite field against Dave Johnson. The Orioles have at least 1 hit in every inning. Check it, that's 6 hits for them now. Six Baltimore hits off Jimmy Key.
The catchers for the Blue Jays, when Borders or Whitcatch, are not the greatest throwers. But because of these left-handers with the great moves, Cerruti, Key, and Flanagan, and Steve is very quick from the right side to first, Stottlemyre just learning, the pitchers give them a chance more often than not. But they can be very slow to hold plate if you guess right.
Melvin with a drive to right. Felix started in, now goes back, and it's against the fence. Devereaux will probably score. No, they're going to stop it.
A tough son, and Junior Felix got turned in circles. Only in his early 20s. Tremendous physical talent. Running, power, throwing. But he's young and makes mistakes. And I think the son got him on this. Hit very hard.
He broke in, then went back. But as you can see by where the ball hit against the fence, had he gotten a good jump, it wasn't so high that he wouldn't have been able to catch it if he had gotten back to the wall. Devereaux had to stop for a moment between first and second, uncertain of whether Felix would make the play, and because of that, Devereaux is stopped by Cal Ripken Sr. at third with 1 out.
Cito Gaston has had people going in his bullpen, and his bullpen has been exceptional after an atrocious start. Frank Wills gets up and is throwing again. Now the infield is going to come in at the corners, halfway in the middle, and they're creeping. Weak side, Liriano, McGriff all the way in.
Hewlett grounded out his first time. Takes a strike.
You know, Bob, earlier this season, this is one of the fundamentals that Tom McCraw, the hitting instructor, preaches. Man on first base. I think the Orioles in the American League hit the ball the opposite way as well as anybody. You almost count on the right-handers going that way, trying to shoot through the hole as Melvin was, but he got it in the air.
He gets ahead 0-2. He's allowed 7 hits, 4 of them doubles. He has struck out 5, and he's in a spot here where a strikeout would help, and ahead of Hewlett 0-2. Bradley, the leadoff man, on deck. 2-1 Orioles, top of the 4th. Devereaux at third, Melvin, who just doubled, at second, and 1 out.
Fastball up and away. See if that's the setup, the sinker ball for the ground ball or the big hook.
Fastball popped up. Let's see if it stays in. Looks like Gruber has room. In some parks, that would have been in the seats. Not here, not Oakland. At Exhibition Stadium, the old home of the Blue Jays, probably a souvenir, and Hewlett would have still been alive.
Here comes Cito Gaston. Phil Bradley up. 2 outs, a base open. And he's going to talk to Jimmy Key about the possibility of putting Bradley out and maybe getting the switch hitter Stanley Jefferson. Bradley's been Mr. Consistency all year long, offensively, base running, defensively. If
the Orioles win this game and make tomorrow's regular season finale meaningful, you might say on the face of it that the Blue Jays have a big edge in the potential pitching pairing, assuming Steve can go on 3 days rest. Everybody knows Dave Steve. Bob Malaki's not exactly a household name. Steve is 17-8 this year. He's flirted with a no-hitter 3 times within the last year. But he's 0-2 this season against the Orioles. Just 5-9 for his career against Baltimore. They are going to put Bradley on. And Bob Malaki is unbeaten in his last 6 starts and is 8-2 since August 11th. Well, I thought at first they were going to walk him intentionally.
Signaled 4 that Ernie Whitt sat back down in his crouch. It was very unusual. He got out to the side. It looked like he said 4. Don't know what that was about. Unless he was waving his hand, changing his defense. That's what they see in the dugout. Those are the bullpens to see who is ready, because they don't have good communication. They have telephones, but if they break down, they like to be able to get a signal from the man, the bullpen coach, either Elrod Hendricks or Johnny Sullivan. They use that.
Bradley hitting .275 overall. 1 for 2 today. Outside to him 2-1. Throughout his career, Bradley has been a great second-half hitter. A .316 career hitter after the All-Star break prior to this season. But this year, he's only around .240 since mid-July. Hit over 300 3 times as a Mariner and .297 on another occasion.
And a veteran pitcher like Jimmy Key, Cito Gaston, feels that he can throw him only pitches that are of the nibble variety. Nothing down the plate, but Jimmy Key's control has not been that good the last couple innings.
Breaking ball hit toward the middle slowly. Fernandez to his left. Off balance. Bradley beat it.
That is strategy that's going to be questioned in this game no matter what happens. But especially the Blue Jays do not come back and win it. Breaking ball in, he fists him. Tony Fernandez, because he saw the breaking ball sign, maybe a little bit toward the third baseman. Bradley, they play straight away, doesn't pull the ball a whole lot, and Tony almost makes a brilliant play. Couldn't get enough on his throw, on the run. You got to wonder, you know, you got Jefferson there, not an RBI guy, but he has a double. He struck out in this game. Cito elected to go and trust Jimmy Key. I wonder if he got talked out of that by Key.
Well, we assumed, based on what we thought the percentages were and Witt's apparent signal, that they were going to walk him intentionally. They worked to him, and he gets his second infield hit of the day. More importantly, drives home the 3rd run. Key's not yet out of the 4th, and he's already given up 8 hits. He hasn't walked anybody, though.
Being able to locate the fastball, he's thrown some hooks to Stanley Jefferson, which is what he tried to get Bradley out on. Funneled off for an RBI single.
Melvin is at 3rd, Bradley at 1st. Jefferson at the plate and Ripken on deck. And the 1-1 pitch is fouled off.
You know, there's some teams that would play in this situation. I know the Blue Jays do. Jimmy Williams put it in and has had it for a couple of years, and they do it against left-handed pitchers. I think Jimmy Key may be a little too smart for it, but they have the runner at first base get off the bag and like stumble going halfway down, and when the guy steps off or throws over, it's prearranged. The runner on third just breaks and comes home, and usually beats the throw. It's a risky play that you try, maybe it works once a year, if that.
Sign, and here's his 1-2 pitch. Struck him out. They leave 2, but they push another run home. He has 6 strikeouts, but trails 3-1.
What if the Escape had a 6th sense? A sense that adapts to any road condition automatically. A sense that detects low tire pressure before you do. One that senses exactly when you need stability and delivers it. What if you had a 6th sense? more escape, more surprises at Ford.ca/escape.
Is your dandruff turning people off? Garnier Fructis Anti-Dandruff Shampoo helps kiss those flakes goodbye and smells amazing. It's proven. From the first wash, no visible flakes. Satisfaction guaranteed. Garnier Fructis Anti-Dandruff Shampoo. Garnier.
Keep your hair safe with Garnier Fructis. Get tsn.ca/Fructis to enter the Garnier Fructis Ultimate Sports Fan Contest. You could go behind the scenes with Rod Black at a pro baseball game. Garnier Fructis, essential hair equipment.
The Budweiser NASCAR VIP Weekend. Pit stop at Eastside Mario's Race Zones for a chance to win. Visit Budweiser.ca for a complete list of participating Eastside Mario's and other locations. The winner will receive one of 2 VIP trips to the NASCAR Busch Series race in Montreal. Or you could also win authentic Budweiser NASCAR licensed prizes. Budweiser, official sponsor of NASCAR in Canada. Must be legal drinking age. No purchase necessary.
Taking a ball high from Johnson. Baltimore. Outside, McGriff still leading the league with 36 homers, despite going without one since September 4th, but Joe Carter of the Indians is creeping up with 35. 2-0 pitch, hit toward the gap in left center, but Bradley had him played that way, well off the line, and he gets there.
When he played in the National League that second half of the year last year, the bat got going. Bradley, and some said he might have been the best left fielder in the league. Going in the corner, and that's saying a lot when you got McReynolds, Vince Coleman, who with all that quickness. Bradley's very, very steady.
To right in the first inning. Here's a long one, left center field, not long enough. Devereaux racing over, and it's Devereaux who takes it.
Saw Jay Johnson style, a little change of speed, made George Bell reach. The power is gone. Call it lunging, if you will. All the weight's on the front foot. Still, he hit it, and very few guys could hit the ball as hard as George did with all his weight gone and all with the one hand. Change of speeds and moving the ball around.
In the recent past, not only have the Orioles been a bad team, but they've been a plodding team. A team that was very inefficient on artificial turf, almost incapable of beating a good turf team. But now they've transformed their roster, and you look at this outfield. With Bradley in left and Devereaux in center, Jefferson in right, Brady Anderson on their bench, and Steve Finley are also good defensive outfielders. It isn't just the low error total, lowest in the majors. It's all the balls that don't get into the gaps. It's all the heads-up plays, hitting the cutoff man, as the Blue Jays often don't do, keeping the double play in order, not allowing the extra base needlessly. It's been the hallmark of that man's team all year.
And when he and Roland Heeman sat down at the end of last season, and of course they got Brady Anderson last season, and some of them said that Brady Anderson, the way he was diving at the end of last year, set a tone for the nature of this defense in the outfield. He started the season, got hurt, and played infrequently lately.
0-2 to Fernandez. Began the day hitting .259. He spoils that one.
Control and change of speed pitchers we've seen do well here too, because they can use the big part of the ballpark. Center field, Mosby drove one almost to the wall. Ball left center field.
As you see, since a one-game playoff counts in the regular season standings, if the Orioles wind up winning the division by taking their last 3, they'd have the greatest single-season improvement in history. which is why this guy is odds-on to be manager of the year, despite the excellent job done by the man in the other dugout, Cito Gaston, and Tony La Russa out in the Bay Area.
Well, the division started off so badly. Weakened so many good players out of the Eastern Division in the last 3 years.
Playable for Devereaux. Shades his eyes, moves into the shadows, and has it. Well, Johnson has retired 10 in a row since Bell's 2-out RBI hit in the first. Back after this from your local station.
The 2007 Mazda 5. With full flat cargo capability and seating for 6, you'll never skip a beat. Mazda 5. It all comes back to... Zoom, 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 zoom.
This is Scott. He can't stop pinching himself. Why? Because he just won access to tournaments with over $100 million in prize money. Now it's your turn to live the dream. Go to AbsolutePoker.net right now and enter a free qualifier for the Absolute Dream Package. You could be the next winner in this unbelievable poker prize package. You can stop pinching yourself now. The Absolute Dream... Ow! The Absolute Dream Package. Pinch yourself. This is for real.
We got an issue in America. Too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across this country.
When Michael Moore decided to make a movie on the healthcare industry, top-level executives were on the defensive. What were they hiding?
That's not on, right? No. Okay.
Critics are raving Sicko is a massive home run. It's brilliant and wildly entertaining.
I mean, that is fantastic.
Sicko.
Now playing.
Hello, Moto.
Worthington comes tight at third base in case Mosby tries to start it off with a bunt. Lloyd doesn't bunt a whole lot.
Swings on the first one, hits it softly into center, and Devereaux charges and makes the catch.
That drops in with a lot of center fielders because they start so much more deeply. You indicated that earlier, how shallow center field he plays. You know, Earl Weaver probably would have objected at certain times of the ballgame playing that shallow. That was a little discussion between Paul Blair and Earl. Paul could go back so well, and Earl would say, nothing over your head. Try and move him back. Frank isn't doing that. Devereaux.
Mookie now. Bluffs a bunt, takes a strike. The story to this point, Dave Johnson. As we move to the last half of the sixth, he shut the Blue Jays down on 2 hits, just one of them since the first, and he leads 3-1 with Pete Harnish watching anxiously from the bench. Worthington creeping in at third. A ball and a strike now to Mookie. Harnish was truly anxious to pitch in this game. He was not nervous. He was not intimidated. He's a rookie, but a very loose kid. And he wanted the ball today. And in fact, tried to convince them that he could go. But in truth, he just wasn't ready with that foot.
Well, Al Jackson has done a marvelous job with his young staff. And when he was hired by Frank Robinson, he said, I have one theory on pitching. He told all his pitchers, you throw 3 pitches. You don't ever think deeper than 3 pitches.
It's a fair ball. Milligan's got it. Johnson covers.
And Al Jackson's philosophy, and there he is, the old Met, as you said, and Cardinal. His philosophy is simple. If you don't go to your 4th pitch, you can't walk anybody. It's either 3 pitches, he's on base, or sitting on the bench. And Frank Robinson, that's my philosophy. And with kids, it simply means throw strikes.
Al Jackson suffered through the early days of the New York Mets on the same pitching staff as Roger Craig, now the Giant manager. He was Don Zimmer's pitching coach. in the heartache season of 1978 with the Red Sox. What an improbable reunion it would be in either case if the Orioles could make it through to the World Series against either Craig's team or Zimmer's team.
And ironically, Al said he didn't even know Frank Robinson. He knew of him. He said he thinks the link that he is with the Orioles was because of Tommy McCraw. McCraw had been Frank's hitting instructor in other places.
Last year, McGriff was second in the league with 34 homers behind Canseco's 42. When he's in a groove, he doesn't just hit him. As a man who's got 586 lifetime looks on from the enemy dugout, he launches him. He's hit some of the longest home runs in the league. In fact, he hit one cannon shot off the glass facing of the Hard Rock Cafe there in the third level, about a 470-foot poke. Can you imagine? You're sitting there downing some hors d'oeuvres, and this ball comes hurtling at you. That'll make you swallow your soup spoon.
And yet, when Freddie McGriff got into his ballpark, the swirling winds, he lost a few home runs to center field, and he was a pretty dejected young man. Everybody said, hey, what's going to happen to his salary over the years? He will not be a home run champ. He's at 14 here in this park now.
His frustrations continue. Bradley with the catch and left. Another perfect inning for the amazing Dave Johnson. And we're back after this from your local station.
It comes with everything. Stereo cassette, 2D navigational system, automatic anti-theft device. But high-mileage cars can also come with engine wear, because they burn oil faster. So get Castrol GTX high mileage for superior oil burn-off protection. In lab tests of 10W30, 17% better than leading conventional oils.
Hey.
Castrol GTX high mileage. It's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
Yeah, she's something. How much? 5 million. But does it come in blue? No. How about that one? Yeah. Yeah.
There's 50 years of racing innovation under the hood of every Honda. Right now, get financing from 1.9% on a Honda Odyssey. So get to the Honda Checkered Flag event fast.
Fast-breaking sports news requires rapid delivery. Keep up with Tylenol Rapid Release Rapid Alerts on your cell phone. Register at tsn.ca/Tylenol and take the pain out of staying informed. Brought to you by Tylenol Release Gel Caps. Rapid release, rapid relief.
Harvey's introduces the Spicy Jack Burger. It starts with Canada's best-tasting burger, with melted jalapeno jack cheese topped with bacon and smothered in sauteed onions and spicy chipotle sauce. But unlike other so-called hot burgers, you decide the heat. Add a shot of hot sauce. Heck, have two. Have more. Now that's a burger for someone who knows heat. At Harvey's, there's a burger with your name on it.
Harvey's makes your hamburger a beautiful thing.
Making a Caesar? You want one? Absolutely. Cheers. Cheers. Hey, you gotta drink that here.
There's just something about the savory taste of a Mott's Clamato Caesar. When you see one, you want one.
Loose group of Orioles. You could feel it all weekend in their clubhouse. Even today, after a heartbreaking defeat, pushing 2 to play, you walk into the Oriole clubhouse, they were all laughing and joking, and it's the feeling transmitted from the manager's office by Frank Robinson, who is completely composed. I asked him what Fred Hutchinson, his manager with the Reds, and Earl Weaver later with the Orioles were like in the closing days of a tight race. Ripken smashes one toward the hole, and Gruber, fully extended, turns in a sparkler.
You will say that not many third basemen could also be a shortstop in a lot of teams. Mike Schmidt in his prime could have been. Heck, Brooks Robinson, the Hall of Famer, couldn't play short because of the lack of speed and the throwing arm, but Kelly Gruber can. He's quick, he's fast. A right fielder's throwing arm. A couple of years ago, they played him in center, right. He was a little bit of shortstop. He was all over the place.
A ball to Milligan.
Look at this quickness. First basic crossover step, right over left. Ball was hit hard. Picks it off a very, very fast turn. You're talking about late Fred Hutchinson. He's the reason we're up all the runways now. You don't just have light bulbs to light the long tunnels. They're all enclosed in metal, because Hutch would have them all knocked out with a bat after a tough loss.
Drifts into foul territory and takes care of Milligan, as Frank Wills, in his 4th inning of work, is doing a splendid job keeping the Blue Jays close.
And like Frank Robinson, has seen a lot of people contribute coming from nowhere. Same thing's happened with the Blue Jays. Frank Wills gave some good appearances in long relief. Flanagan went down. Key was on a disabled list. Steve had a tired arm. They threw him into a start. Did a good job twice in starting spots. Then he was sent back down, recalled in September. And they've had a lot of people come through. Junior Felix, heck, he had a month. He got 30 RBIs in a hurry. That's the story today.
He's a volunteer fireman in Baltimore, so he knows all about being at the ready for quick and unexpected calls. He's responded gloriously today. Fernandez again. He's kicked only 6 all year. He finishes Worthington. Johnson back to work in the 8th. He's doled out just 2 hits so far.
What if the Escape had a 6th sense? A sense that adapts to any road condition automatically. A sense that detects low tire pressure before you do. One that senses exactly when you need stability and delivers it. What if you had a 6th sense? More Escape, more surprises at Ford.ca/escape.
Where's the keys?
State your case, young man.
I'm having a poker night, and I'd like to serve some Keiths.
My finest ale would be perfect. Want to see my poker face?
Sure.
Ha-ha! To you, sir, the pride of Nova Scotia. Wilson? Ha! Never blinked once.
Wirirani. Woku France, woku Canada, woku Vietnam, woku Portugal, woku Mexico, woku Egypt, woku Zimbabwe, woku Spain, Norway, woku Japan, woku Britain, woku Greece, woku Italy.
Learn for free at the world's largest poker school, partypoker.net. Everyone's playing.
Is your dandruff turning people off? Garnier Fructis Anti-Dandruff Shampoo helps kiss those flakes goodbye and smells amazing. It's proven. From the first wash, no visible flakes. Satisfaction guaranteed. Garnier Fructis Anti-Dandruff Shampoo. Garnier.
Keep your hair safe with Garnier Fructis. Get tsn.ca/Fructis to enter the Garnier Fructis Ultimate Sports Fan Contest. You could go behind the scenes with Rod Black at a pro baseball game. Garnier Fructis, essential hair equipment.
Looking at perhaps the youngest fan in the Sky Dome today, we're reminded to send congratulations to one of our cameramen, Dave Hagan. He and wife Carol welcomed son Brett into the world late yesterday afternoon. Big kid, too, 9 pounds, 9 ounces. So the Hagan family in Collinswood, New Jersey, welcomes their second. Congratulations to them. Liriano, Felix, and Mosby in the bottom of the 8th.
In at the corners looking for a possible bunt, which Liriano did early. In fact, one thing that Ellis Clary, who is in uniform, he's been around baseball for 50 years, he's told Nelson Liriano, he's tried to teach him to bunt better, he's learned. Even when you take a pitch, fake a bunt, draw the infielders in, and that's what he's doing right now, taking it all the way. But he's getting, you're going to see Dave Johnson up top. Watch how he throws a little crossfire. Now, so far in this game, by striding a little bit toward third base, he's been able to get the ball in on the fists at times with the left-handed hitters. And I think by doing that and keeping the left shoulder, and he conceals the ball better. He doesn't throw hard at all.
The 3-0 pitch. And he walks him on 4. His 3rd walk of the game, but the 2nd guy he's walked out of the last 3 batters he's faced. And here comes Frank Robinson.
Well, he was searching for the release point. He didn't get it on this pitch. John Shulak said it's too far inside. He showed his disgust, thought he might on the 3-0 count had enough of the inside corner, and that'll bring Frank Robinson out.
You know what's even more remarkable about Johnson's performance? He's 4-7, 29-year-old rookie, and finally he's had enough as Robinson takes the ball. But prior to this emergency start, he had lost his last 5 decisions with an ERA of 5.5. He did it today, boy.
The 2007 Mazda 5. With full flat cargo capability and seating for 6, you'll never skip a beat. Mazda 5. It all comes back to...
The Budweiser NASCAR VIP Weekend. Pit stop at Eastside Mario's Race Zones for a chance to win. Visit Budweiser.ca for a complete list of participating Eastside Mario's and other locations. The winner will receive one of 2 VIP trips to the NASCAR Busch Series race in Montreal. Or you could also win authentic Budweiser NASCAR license prizes. Budweiser, official sponsor of NASCAR in Canada. Must be legal drinking age. No purchase necessary.
I had no idea that was an insult in Swahili. Clarissa.
Can you tell me what's going on here?
Just some friends who've come over for a quick game of poker.
There's a better way to bring the world together for a little poker. Learn for free at the world's largest poker school, partypoker.net. Everyone's playing.
Dave Johnson, winless since August 26th, and look what he did in the penultimate game of the regular season, coming off an outing in Milwaukee in which he was pounded, didn't last to the 5th, 0-5 in his last 5 decisions. He was equal to the task when he found the baseball in his locker. The time-honored way of telling him that he was the starter, whether he knew it or not. He picked it up and ran with it.
He allowed just 5 base runners, relieved now by Kevin Hickey, the left-hander. And you talk about a pitcher who used this ballpark. 7 putouts for Devereaux in center field, and Johnson used this ballpark magnificently. Kevin Hickey, a softball pitcher. There's Devereaux in center field, playing the shallow center field. But Hickey really made the team. He was released out of baseball for a while, and he asked for a tryout. Roland Heeman gave it to him, and he got out some key left-handers, Boggs, Mattingly, and others in spring training. And because he got out the left-handers, Frank Robinson used it for 2 or 3 hitters. They were going to turn Felix around his weak side right. They sent up a pinch hitter, Bob.
And it's another switch hitter, Manny Lee. Worthington in close and on the line at 3rd. And a ball outside. In a way, this is prototypical of Baltimore's season, starting a 29-year-old knock-around career minor leaguer like Johnson on short notice, and then bringing Hickey out of the bullpen, who hasn't been in the major leagues since 1983.
Whoa, that was thrown away. Nice stop, Milligan.
Hickey's last big league stop prior to this year was with the Western Division winning White Sox. Roland Heeman, the GM there, Tony La Russa, the manager, in 1983. Last year at Rochester, Baltimore's AAA affiliate, he lived in the clubhouse. He didn't even have an apartment. He had a sleeping bag in the clubhouse.
Well, and you're seeing a little bit of the Earl Weaver legacy Frank Robinson, of course, played for him for so long. Those little 3x5 cards to get the matchups. Hickey. They'll get Lee, who's the pinch hitter, who's better right than left. But then you get Mosby, Mookie Wilson, the switch hitter, who's better left-handed than right, and then McGriff, a left-hander. And Frank Robinson wants him to get Hickey. Frank wants him to get through about 4 hitters if he can.
At age 33, Hickey back in the big leagues after a 6-year absence. Missing high and away, and it's 3-0. The Jays have only 2 hits. But Hickey's a pitch away from giving them their 4th walk.
Pitch that Johnson thought he had 3-0, Wilson walked. Shulak may have broadened the strike zone on that, but it was very close.
Manny Lee with 3 home runs, an average of 261. Strike 2, and Lee not endearing himself to Shulak.
Mike Squires has already alerted the first base runner, do not get picked off. He did it in Detroit the other day. Brian DuBois picked Manny Lee off.
Screen.
And there's 2 pitches prior to that, strike 1 and 2. Just broaden the strike zone a little bit. They're on the outer edge, and another pitch out that area from Hickey. And you distort your strike zone a little bit, and you're not sure. And you're so close, too close to take. And with a tying run at the plate, you can see where Worthington is, right on the line.
Another 3-2 pitch, but first, a soft toss to first. Hickey trying to save it for that man, Dave Johnson, alongside his pitching coach, Al Jackson. Tomorrow's starter, Bob Malachy, on the other side of him. There's the walk. On, and here's last night's hero, Lloyd Mosby. Robinson explained his strategy in walking the rookie Junior Felix last night and taking his chances with Mosby. It wasn't a case of preferring one hitter to the other, thinking that Mark Williamson was more likely to get one out than the other. He just wanted to set up a force at every base.
Craig Worthington requested time from Al Clark, the third base umpire. With a bunt in order, the Blue Jays have been a very poor bunting team. Mosby's been one of those that fought. But if they're going to set up a play, Worthington now going to relay the signals to all the other infielders. And Cal Ripken and Tim Hewlett talking over. Who's charging? Will Hickey and Milligan cover the diamond and Worthington hold? If Mosby's bunting. And, he bunted yesterday early in the ball game with a man on first and third. But he hasn't been very successful lately.
He's walked and twice fly to center. Hickey sets, Mosby squares, pulls away and takes the ball.
It's a normal defensive alignment. Third baseman holding, Ripken going to cover second, Hewlett going over to first with Milligan charging. See if they put another play on, it'll be triggered by Worthington at third. Typical pitch, upstairs, try and get the pop-up if you can. Too far up and in.
Now Hickey wants to talk with Worthington face-to-face.
Well, let's see what signals Worthington gives. He usually uses the top of his hand and some other things. It used to be Eddie Murray when he was here would give the signs. The other infielders are looking around at him now. Johnson in an almost prayerful pose. And at a 3-1 lead.
foul.
Yep, Ripken was coming to third this time. Hewlett going to second. So we've seen 2 variations. Some teams have as many as 6. First time was the standard version. Shortstop to second, second baseman to first. This time, Ripken decoys Liriano back, which is sometimes tough to do because he's a fast runner. But what could happen if the man bunts through with Hewlett coming behind, many times you nail that runner at second trying to get a good jump.
Mosby hitting around 220, but just a couple of years removed from a season in which he hit 26 homers and drove in 96, and still only 29.
Gaston puts the switch on. It's a tough left-hander, but Cito may go against whatever the book says, and maybe not have him button.
On 1-1, he looks to be swinging. He lays off. And here comes Robbie, who says he meant no insult to Mosby, not that he would care in the heat of a pennant race about bruising an opponent's feelings, but his thought was that without the force at any base, if he pitched to Felix, as speedy as Felix is, and if he topped one, the only play would be at first, and with no opportunity for a force, he might beat out an infield hit and get the run home. That's why he walked him to load the bases.
He's making a change with a 2-1 count on Mosby. He's got Mark Thurman, the only other left-hander down there.
So in mid-count, Hickey's done, and we'll be right back.
Introducing the Briggs & Stratton Elite Gas Pressure Washer. Its Project Pro nozzle system removes the guesswork, so you can easily clean all types of surfaces with the right pressure. Outdoor cleaning starts at Canadian Tire.
Megan and Caesar, you want one? Absolutely. Cheers. Cheers. Hey, you gotta drink that here.
There's just something about the savory taste of a Mott's Clamato Caesar. When you see one, you want one.
Harvey's introduces the Spicy Jack Burger. It starts with Canada's best-tasting burger, with melted jalapeno jack cheese topped with bacon and smothered in sautéed onions and spicy chipotle sauce. But unlike other so-called hot burgers, you decide the heat. Add a shot of hot sauce. Heck, have 2. Have more. Now that's a burger for someone who knows heat. At Harvey's, there's a burger with your name on it.
Harvey's makes your hamburger a beautiful thing.
What if the Escape had a 6th sense? A sense that adapts to any road condition automatically. A sense that detects low tire pressure before you do. One that senses exactly when you need stability and delivers it. What if you had a 6th sense? More Escape, more surprises at Ford.ca/escape.
Don't know jack about your credit? Stop clowning around. Log on to transunion.ca and get your credit report and credit score. TransUnion. Manage your credit, manage your life.
An interesting move by Frank Robinson for a couple of reasons. He does it in mid-count, and now he hands the ball to the very guy Mosby burned for the game-winning hit in the 11th last night, Mark Williamson. This is Williamson's 3rd big league season and his best. He's 30 years old. He had won his previous 4 decisions before last night's defeat, his first loss since late July, and only the 2nd time in his last 10 appearances that he'd been scored upon.
And perhaps among all the things that you mentioned, Williamson goes against the percentage. Behind of the count 2-1. Mark Thurman not called upon at all. The other left-hander, Rob Ducey, the Canadian, goes into pinch run at first base, give him a little more speed. Lee leaves. They're still in at the corners, but will Mosby be bunting? He wasn't 1-1 against the left-hander.
Olson, the closer, pitched 2 2/3 last night and threw 39 pitches. He squares, he pulls back, and the count goes to 3-1. John McLaren in the third base coach's box. Has a pretty good sinker. Melvin flashes the
slope. No reason for drainage in a dome stadium. They close it when it rains. And the ball hit the line. Looked like it was going to curl. Foul. It stayed on the line and came right back fair. It was dead and so. Melvin couldn't get out. Liriano gets an excellent jump off second base as Lloyd Moseby deadens the ball. And because Liriano got off second base, you could see Melvin just looked up a little bit to see the position of Liriano. He says, I've only got one place, and that's the first base. So Lloyd Moseby executes properly.
Here's Wilson with the slumping McGriff waiting next. Outside and high. When Mookie came over, they had a record of 52 and 53, a game under 500. They were 3 back. They proceeded to win 21 of their next 30. He wasn't responsible for all of that, but he did provide a spark. The 1-0 pitch. Bouncing ball toward the hole. Ripken can't get it. 1 run in, and the other man stopped at third. Throughout the year, around 240 in that department. From the set, runners at the corners, 1 out. And no margin of error for Williamson.
Ordinarily, with 1 out, first and third, and McGriff up, you would not want the runner to go. You would keep the hole open. If he gets thrown out, the sac fly is gone. But with McGriff slumping and rookie speed, we'll see he's holding it.
Williamson is way high, and Melvin says, settle down, stay within yourself.
Well, on the MasterCard in Frank Robinson's clubhouse, they had Mark Thurman listed as a possible reliever. With Freddie McGriff out for just 1 hitter, will it be Thurman? Not so.
George fell on deck. There goes the runner from first, and it's fouled back, and Mookie has to return. It was in the bottom of the 8th last night. Al Jackson to the telephone. Bottom of the 8th last night with Tom Wallace at third base and 2 down when a Greg Olson curveball got away on a 1-2 pitch to Kelly Gruber and bounced to the screen, allowing the tying run to score. Wallace, the pinch runner, had stolen second, moved up on a ground out, tallied the tying run. The Jays won it in the 11th. Bottom of the 8th here. 2-1 the count now to McGriff. A run home, 2 on, 1 out, 3-2 Baltimore.
Frank's ace out of the pen, and Cito knows it too. Greg Olson threw just 39 pitches yesterday, and he'd had 3 days rest. Boy, that he hadn't pitched since last Monday. I wonder if nothing happens here, or whether something does or not, if Olson is the next guy to pitch the ballot.
Mookie gets back ahead of Milligan's tag.
With an uppercut swing that Fred McGriff has, he might hit a ground ball, but his tendencies usually are to get the ball in the air. With his strength, usually it's pretty deep. Just 1 out.
Now the 2-1. Mookie goes again, and it's fouled back toward us.
And he's running only because Fred McGriff is in such a deep slump.
It's tense, but Mookie has been in far more pressure-packed situations than this one. He had the bat in his hands with the Mets season down to a single out, and the tying run at third in the '86 World Series in Game 6. You know what happened? The Stanley Wild pitch, the ground through Buckner's legs. Going again. Hit solidly to right. In for a hit. The game's going to be tied. Finley's throw won't be in time. Wilson to third. Even up at 3. And all of Dave Johnson's clutch work frittered away by the bullpen.
First base is open, that you put a George Bell on, given him 100 runs 3 to 4 last 4 years. Load the bases for Fernandez, not an RBI guy. Frank has made no indication. Remember Bobby Cox did it in the League Championship Series to George Brett with first base occupied. Unorthodox to set up a force out at home plate. George Bell, if there is a guy in this league, and Cito knows it, who we'd rather have up there on this team, maybe the league, is George Bell. The runner on third base. He can get you the sac fly, and it seems to be at will.
No matter what happens the rest of the way, Mr. Johnson, you did yourself proud this afternoon.
It was something.
One of the sweet stories in a strange baseball season. Season of many glories and a season of heartache too. Pete Rose situation, Bart Giamatti's death.
The 2 walks started this inning off. Liriano and then Lee. Neither of whom walks a lot.
Wilson at third, McGriff at first. Mookie with what could be the division clinching run. 2 home, tied at 3. Williamson to Bell. A strike call.
You know, Frank Robinson shows me something in this. He could have pushed Greg Olson harder yesterday. He could have put Greg Olson in right now, but it shows you the respect he has for the young kid's arm. He's not going to burn him out, and I'm not saying a pennant's at stake in this game, but very well could be. He's not going to abuse the kid. He's up now, though.
The 0-1. This will get the run home, maybe more. Finley goes back. He's got it. Mookie tags. And suddenly the Blue Jays are 3 outs from a trip to the postseason. Johnson's name in the scorebook, but in the memory bank of every baseball fan who savors the quirkish nature of the game, savors the final moments of a pennant race, there will be a star next to Dave Johnson's name for all time. What a job he did. Bell with his second RBI of the day. Fernandez to the plate as they look for insurance. 3 home in the last of the 8th. 4-3 Toronto. They have only 4 hits. The Orioles have 9.
And then George Bell with that sac fly, even though he swings a lot of bad pitches, you just saw one of the smartest hitters in the game. Looking for something up, drive deeply, jumped on.
1-0. Bell DHing today, as he has for several days, because of an inflamed right elbow that hampers him throwing from left field. If they make the playoffs, though, he'll probably be ready to play the outfield against the A's, in which case a guy like Mazzilli might be the DH. Bell bolstering his MVP credentials with 2 big RBIs in this one today. The 1-1 pitch. Tettleton, the DH. Devereaux, the center fielder, and Melvin, the catcher, with Hewlett, the fourth hitter. Especially with the expanded September rosters, both benches are bulging with potential pinch hitters. 3-1. Short, Ripken. The Jays take a one-run lead in front of a wild Sky Dome crowd now to the top of the ninth. The A's are awaiting an opponent.
I changed my oil. Why worry about engine sludge?
You can't see sludge coming, but it can rob gas mileage and hold your car back.
Yeah, right.
Castrol GTX has an improved formula to stop sludge in its tracks.
Give me a burger, fries.
GTX's new dispersants neutralize sludge for superior protection among leading 5W and 10W30s.
And some extra napkins.
Castrol GTX. It's more than just oil. It's liquid engineering.
Yeah, she's something. How much? 5 million. But does it come in blue? No. How about that one? Yeah. Yeah.
There's 50 years of racing innovation under the hood of every Honda. Right now, get financing for 1.9% on a Honda Civic. So get to the Honda Checkered Flag event fast.
What's so funny? These all-brand bars taste really good.
All brand bars taste great. Really? Make 5 your friend with Kellogg's All Brand cereal bars. And now, introducing new All Brand snack bites in cinnamon brown sugar flavor and strawberry.
Where's the keys?
State your case, young man.
I'm having a poker night, and I'd like to serve some Keiths.
My finest ale would be perfect. Want to see my poker face?
Sure.
Ha-ha! To you, sir, the pride of Nova Scotia. Wilson? Ha! Never blink once.
Ducey pinch ran, scored the tying run, stays in the game in right. And here comes Henke. Floundering under Jimmy Williams, working on his forkball early in the year. Finally, he's got that down, and some of the velocity has come back on his fastball. When Gaston took over, he said the main priority was to get the bullpen back in order with Henke at the end, instead of using Ward or someone else as the closer. Under Gaston, Henke's ERA is 0.93. He's allowed 8 earned runs since Cito took over in 78 innings. In his last 48 innings of work, he struck out 71.
He's been using the forkball a lot. Much more than his fastball.
Cut on and missed by Tettleton.
I mean, very few teams can bring 3 men out of their bullpen, as the Blue Jays can't have to go a strikeout per inning, or just about. And Henke's been overpowered in front of David Wells, Dwayne Ward, and Henke.
26 homers for Tettleton. This is his better power side. A ball and a strike.
Tom Henke has always been excellent. First pitch strikes when he comes in. With men on or with nobody on.
Well over a strikeout per inning pitch for his career. Yes, 1-2.
Tom hadn't blown a save until just the other day in Detroit, since somewhere early in May. So effective he's been.
Off, it's 2-2, 49,553, ready to explode in celebration.
And you can see in a one-run ball game, the outfield way back, and Gruber and McGriff found the lines. First hitter, they don't want any doubles.
Full count to Tettleton, who struck out twice and flied to center. The Orioles were cruising along, closing in on making the last day a showdown. But the trapdoor may have been pulled suddenly on their Cinderella season. Called strike 3. Display of emotion from Frank Robinson, and not all that much at that. Joe Arcelak, the left-handed hitter for Devereaux in this situation. Joe has occasional power. We saw him hit 2 home runs about a month ago on a Game of the Week telecast at Yankee Stadium.
Today, as it was yesterday, an unlikely cleanup hitter.
7 homers for the former Pirate. Henke's 0-1 pitch. Squibber left side. Gruber's got it. They're an out away from the playoffs. And Robinson sends Larry Sheets to the bat rack. Ago, Sheets had a monster season, hit 31 homers and batted .316. He's never regained that stroke.
He's 6 for 17 as a pinch hitter this year.
If it ends here for Baltimore, you just hope that Mark Williamson won't let the memory of the final weekend, last night, and then failing to come through today, mar what overall was a great year for him.
Well, he inherited a lot of trouble, remember that. Picky, struggled. Couldn't do the job, but he's done so well against the left-hander Mosby. Hanging by a thread. Down to their last strike in their 161st game. A team that lost 107 a year ago. Blue Jay team that looked like it was out of it in about June of this year. They were 10 back. Now they're a strike away from clinching. The 1-2 pitch. The Toronto Blue Jays are Oakland bound.
Clamato back-to-back weekend on the 1st. Toronto Indy revisited on the 6th.
He gives it into Lanier, back to LeSpurt. The Montreal Canadiens have won the Stanley Cup. Coming in with Nystrom. Canelli to Nystrom. He scores! The Oilers have won the Stanley Cup.
Time once again to go back into the archives. Welcome to Vintage Games.